Welcome, dogs. Get your goggles, get your tightest lycra tri-suit, put on those compression socks. Why be good at one sport if you can be shit at three? This is the Triathlon Mockery Podcast. What's going on, dogs? Back in the game, baby. It's March. It took a while. We had some highs, we had some lows, and you won't believe how hard it is sometimes to get a podcast out. But yeah, I've got all the goodwill for now on. I'm sitting down with Max Stapley. He's been a guest before on former shows. And yeah, we just wanted to get something out this week. Maxi, mate, you're in Dubai, I think.
Habibi, I'm in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. Why are you in Abu Dhabi?
I mean, just because the training's actually really surprisingly good, you know. I was here preparing for a long course race, and then I got the call up for T100 last week. So I decided to stay. It's hot. It's good for TT. A bunch of different reasons. I have great facilities. I can spend pretty much all my time on the bike in the TT bars, you know, which is like a massive benefit. And I don't have to stop at lights. I don't have to, you know, do any of that stuff. So it's actually a really underrated location for training, if you ask me.
It isn't. I mean, I've once trained in Dubai. It is an underrated location, but don't you think it's like a bit boring if you compare it to like Girona with all the hills, climbs, whatever?
Yeah, definitely not. You have to come here with a Goggins state of mind, you know, just ready to stay hard.
Stay hard, grind every day.
Because there are times in the desert, man, where I just want to jump on the back of one of those camels and ride it home because I'm absolutely bored. I've listened to every podcast on Spotify.
Let's quickly start with the highs and lows before we dive into the section about a little bit of training insights. What have you got any highs and lows from the last weeks?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like my biggest high obviously is getting a start at Singapore. You know, like I didn't really expect it this early in the season. One of my goals this year was to get on the start line. So to be given the call up so early is obviously like awesome, especially in a stacked field. I love Singapore. It's such a nice place. So I'm really, really keen. So thanks to T100.
How does that work?
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming, baby. Contract this young dog. How does it work with the wildcards then? Is it because there's a lot of people that want to throw their name in the hat? Is it like managers pushing you as an athlete, as in Maxi wants to race, or how do they know that you potentially want to race it and get your name forward?
Well, last year I was kind of banging the door down for a hotshot contract at the end of the year, and they were just like, mate, come on, not yet, you know? And they had 2 spots free up in Singapore, and I got a message from Dylan who was like, hey, look, like to be even considered for this race, you have to nominate through your federation. And I actually hadn't nominated, so I was like, okay, I'll put a nomination in, you know, and I just wrote him a message like, look,
you need to nominate through your federation?
Yeah, so because it's a world championship and it's partnered with World Triathlon, you actually need to like, so for you, you'd need to contact the Netherlands Triathlon Federation and say, hey guys, like I'm really keen to race. Can you nominate me? And then they put you on the wait list and they pick from there. If you're not a contracted athlete, if you're a contracted athlete, you get straight on. But as a wait list guy, you have to nominate, and then they choose from the wait list.
And you're currently 15th in the world.
Yeah,
on
buddy.
the PTO. All right. So then
in the short course, I think I'm 16th or 17th, something like that. I'm in the top, near the top 15.
Short course. And on the T100 list?
I don't know, far down because I don't have many scores, but I don't know. I think they said I had two I've done 2 70.3s, 2 podiums. Yeah. One of them was Bahrain, which was like really high standard with Martin, who won, and Henry. And then the other one, Gdynia, I think I nearly beat the course record, which I was only like 20 seconds off Sam Long, and I like walked the finish straight, and I won by like 5.5 minutes. So I think they were like, okay, yeah, maybe we give this guy a shot, especially because I kept telling them, you know, like if you put me in, man, I'm going to swim at the front. I'm going to string it out. Because I'm going to make Sam Long come out 10 minutes down.
Because you'll probably definitely lead the swim, right? That's. Do you think there's like is there a quicker swim in T100? I don't know, swimmer.
I think
Vincent
like
Louis?
I think Vince is still one of the best swimmers in the world, like even in short course. Like this guy, even though he doesn't lead everything out, he's just so smooth, man. And like I think he's one of the best OG all-time triathletes, but definitely a super underrated swimmer. Like I think when he wants, he can lead anything he wants. But I think I'm just hoping that he's going to be playing more the overall result, and I'm going to be playing the entertainer. So maybe I'll go out, maybe I'll go out the front and spike my core temperature early. Who knows? Tune in.
Let's spike it before the run so it won't ever get down. And what? All right, so T100 is the high.
Yeah, and low was, well, just as you mentioned, I was in the desert, mate, and I got caught in a bloody desert fucking sandstorm the other day.
Chamel. I've been caught in a chamel once. It's called a chamel, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I think there's a word for it, what they call it, a chamel or something. Chamel desert, I'll look it up. But maybe it's not called a chamel or a shalung, I don't even know. But there's a word for it. That is horrific. And the one time I had it, I didn't wear glasses.
Oh, mate. Yeah, so I like rolled out from my car and I was like, it was windy and there was a bit of sand on the road and I was like, man, I've got like 3.5 hours. Like I can't turn back now. I'm locked in, So I get like 50K out into the desert towards Saudi Arabia and I'm like, holy shit. Like the sky starts to go black, and you've got like, the gale force winds, like sand blowing everywhere. I had dudes in turbans, man. I thought like I was in Star Wars. Riding past me on they had the whole face covered, like, and they're like 4-wheel drives. And I was like, oh man, I'm in big, big trouble here. Luckily I had a tailwind on the way back, but man, by the end of it, like my teeth, I was like grinding sand in my teeth. And I was
I remember we had like the chamel coming from the sides and I still had to come back like 40K from, so we were in Dubai in what is it called? Akudra. And I had to ride like that with my hand like that because otherwise the sand would get in my eyes. And it was, I remember it was so dodgy.
Yeah, I had to ride with my head like sideways, like my mouth away from the sand, And I was like, oh, this is really bad. And every time a car would come past me, they were looking at me like, dude, like doing this one, like get out now. Like, what are you doing, man? This is really dangerous.
It must be a really good facial treatment, for the skin. They just say like a mud bath, but then with a little bit like a sand coating.
Yeah, when I got home, everyone was telling me about my cheekbones.
Those are expensive.
Like, just go for a ride in a sandstorm,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was. I mean, it was a funny low because I got home, but for a second there, I was like, I'm in trouble here, But like, eventually got out of it.
Did you do the training alone?
Yeah. I've had a training partner or like a guy out here with me for a week, and then my parents help me out a bit when they can on the bike on the run. So follow me on the bike on the run. But apart from that, mate, it's just been me, myself, and I just full Goggins mode. I'm telling you, this is Goggins camp.
Goggins on a camp. But it's a ride like that is so tough when you're out there alone. You start to feel sorry for yourself. But then the inner Goggins, it's all about their inner Goggins.
Yeah, I've just made a playlist of him screaming 24/7, like, "You gotta conquer your inner bitch, man."
Have you ever had a ride that you think was so heroic that towards the end you started to get emotional that you think of like you're seeing yourself crushing the finish line or whatever? You're thinking about that deep David Goggins training, what you're getting in and what you're getting done by yourself. Do you know that, or have you ever had?
Yeah, I've got like a folder on my phone, like just like inspirational like UFC stuff, and it's Conor McGregor being like, your lack of commitment is almost an insult to people that believe in you. I'm just like repeating that over and over again. That's how I get through it, But like, I listen to so many podcasts and songs and like drum and bass and electronic. I'm just like doof, doof, doof in the desert, like going crazy.
No, I can tell you that one thing, what was going crazy yesterday, and that was my tummy. I went for a little run and it was a night hawk late in the evening. So first I did like a 3-hour ride, pretty decent ride. That was actually my first low. So I almost always ride alone or with like a small group of people that I know. I saw this group ride. It's called something like MAP or MATS. And so I went over there. And normally on the Sunday, they have the Smash Fest. So I thought, Smash Fest, I'll have a little bit of that. So I went down there, and apparently the Smash Fest is like for normal Sundays, but this Sunday was a social ride. So we ended up doing 100Ks at literally 29Ks an hour. But I was fully committed because I dragged other people that I knew along. So I couldn't leave. So I did 100Ks at 29Ks an hour. It was way too easy. and I had like a semi-long run planned. So you've been visiting me in January in Amsterdam, and I was doing a
dogs
run.
were united.
Sorry?
The dogs were united for the first time since sub 7, mate. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was a long time. But I was running through the park, then the city center, and then at some moment, it like got to me all of a sudden. My gut, like, and I started like pouring with sweat, and I thought like, all right, it's like 4.5 k's home. Like I'm 100% sure I won't make it. It's city center, so a lot of people, a lot of tourists. But all the proper shops are closed, and I didn't want to go into like one of these restaurants because it's just a ball ache, It's literally everyone's dining there, and I thought like I was literally at the subway, so I thought like this subway literally stops in front of my home, like 500 meters of my home. So I'll just take the subway home, and I'm still like in a very comfortable position that I'm going to make it home. Now, I got in the subway, and after literally one stop, my belly was like, because I was sitting on a chair. He thought like it was the toilet or something. Like I got very confused. And I was sitting there, like sitting still on the chair, but my whole body was moving and shaking. Like I was doing a Zumba class on my chair. And there was like 2 people were watching me because I wasn't run close, but I wasn't running, but I was pouring with sweat, like literally my face. I took a selfie. I was completely drenched. And then at some point I thought like, I'm not going to make it. I'm sitting on a chair. I'm literally going to shit myself in the subway. then I finally, like after my another 2.5 minutes of Zumba, managed to get up and run out of the subway, and I had to grab a light, like a pole outside, and that pole was in a small park, but there were like all kind of people walking the dog. So I thought like, I can't make it up. I need to go here where the dogs are as well. But I thought like, I can't, like I'm too ashamed. And then I could walk a little bit and grab a pole again. And then I don't think I've ever been this deep in my life. But in the end, I made it home, and I was completely drenched with sweat. I think even my heart rate got up to like 150 or something. But yeah, it's the worst thing I've ever had, like flipping subway home and still almost didn't make it.
Oh, it's just that dance, isn't it? Like when you know it's coming, and it's like coming in waves, and you're like, you stop, you walk, and you hold it, and you go, and you like straighten your back up, and then you shuffle a bit, and man, there's nothing worse than that. The walk of shame when you need a shit is terrible.
Yeah, but this one was so bad because I can't tell you how bad it was, because I also just saw my life passing, because there were so many people in the subway that saw me doing like all kinds of Zumba moves. They knew I was struggling with something, whether it was like a personality disorder or something else. They didn't know.
The worst thing is I feel like whenever like I'm on the bike and I really need to pee, like you're like, oh, when the saddle's like crushing you and you're like, man, I really need to go. And then you finally find a spot and you're like, yeah, nice. You park up, you start doing your business, and you could be in the middle of nowhere, man, in the middle of nowhere in Girona in Spain. And some guy just pops up in his car, and just like every time it happens to me, man, and I have to like angle away from the car, and I'm like, oh, and I just think to myself, like, why now? I haven't seen anyone for 20 minutes. And then every time I need a piss, someone just shows up. I swear that happens to me like all the time. Does it happen to you?
Yeah, I once had it in Italy when I also during a run had to go for a little. So I was going through the vineyards, and I thought like I saw this little corner in like a stone wall, and I thought like this is a perfect corner at the end of a small town where no one can see me. And literally, when I was going through my knees, a dog showed up. Like he was sprinting towards me while I was on my knees, and I thought like, whereas a dog, there's people, and people run after their dogs. So that's when people came running up to me, and I was literally on my knees around in a little corner with that dog. So that's when I get caught. So I've got loads of situations like that. And look at this. This is that picture of me from yesterday. Like you can see the flipping look in my eyes. But yeah, that's part. Is that part of the Goggin style, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely fought off your intrusive thoughts, mate. Can you just imagine if you'd have shat yourself on the subway? How bad that would be.
Like, oh, so bad, so bad.
Having to look all those people in the eye, having to get up and just like be like, that's it, guys. I feel like sometimes when it happens though, you just resign yourself. You say, look, it's happened. I've shit myself. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Sue me.
I was also thinking yesterday, like, it is super, super, super weird if you would do it in a park. But then also when you would hear someone's story and you've got the experience, then you agree that it's perfectly normal.
Yeah. I think everyone needs to go for a run and in a big city and try to experience that before they judge. # don't judge.
Exactly. And the big high was, of course, finally last week, launching Guarana. So that was a turbulent week last week, but that was kind of cool. So everyone who checked it out last week, thanks, and for the orders as well.
Congrats, mate. Congrats.
How do you think it looks?
I think it looks good. I like the branding. I like the way you've done it. It looks clean. It looks cool. It looks like very clear communication around what the product is. That's always important. We've seen other brands take like 10 weeks to launch something that they haven't launched yet. We're still not sure what it is, but yours was like straight to the point, you know?
I know. And also, in the end, you won't believe, like originally I wanted to launch in September, then December, and then January, and then March. And you might be thinking like, how is it possible that you're postponing it every time? It's because it could be production with the packaging. That is the first thing we had. And then production with the labels. Like there's only a small thing that's going wrong. And it's going wrong because you're doing it the first time. So for example, you've got a label company that is printing the labels and you're sending the labels because in the end, the development, you're not doing it yourself. You know, you're doing it in combination with a pharmaceutical team and a team of scientists. And I don't have them employed. Like every nutrition brand is working with a pharmaceutical company. And that's also a story that I want to share. You know, people don't even know how their nutrition is made and what's inside of it. But that's a whole other story. But the labels, in the end, they need to have a date of production, but also a date up until when you can use it, and it goes when it goes due date. And the ink of the label printer or the ink of the printer of the pharmaceutical company was not compatible with the label how it was made or something. So that's another like 6 weeks of production, and then something with the box and blah, blah, blah. So that's why it got postponed 3 times. But yeah, finally launched. And we're still busy with like a second and third product, but it's a long process. You know, we started that in January last year, and I would say it was going to take another 3.5 months for something like that to get ready. And that's apart from like the regulation and everything to get all that sorted isn't even the problem, but it's more like, if you want to get a product out that is something new or that is something different than what's out there, you know, it takes a long time.
How do you deal with like, obviously, because you're in the Netherlands, so do you produce in the Netherlands for the Dutch health and safety requirements, and then, or is that like a European standard? Because I guess the difficult thing with food products, I can imagine as well, is like you got to prove to the authorities you're not creating a product that's going to poison people, right? So
this is a key thing that I stand for with Guarana, is because the nutrition you take from a lot of brands out there, and I'm not saying whether it's endurance or whether it's like from these gym pre-workout shakes, you never know the source where it's coming from. You know, where are the ingredients coming from? What kind of ingredient is it? Just like a Ferrari and like a Kia Picanto, there's like both are a car, but both are very different from the product itself. Same with like a protein powder. You can have like a real high source protein or like a real shit source protein. And all the crap is coming, for example, from China because it's very cheap and they make bigger margins on products. And one thing I stand for is like all natural. But also what I think is important when it comes down to ingredients is that you as a customer need to know where it's coming from. And if you source European ingredients, so for example, all our products are European sourced and European made, and all the ingredients, for example, we're busy with a certain product and we're working with a big Dutch company. That is the best standard for that in the world. But you could also get it from China, and that is like half the price. So yeah, where you get the ingredients from, to give insights in that, where it's sourced from, I think it's really important because nowadays people really want to think what they're eating, whether it's biological, vegan, and where it's coming from. Same with like eggs. Do you take caged eggs or do you take like, and then the price is the same, you know, and I want to come out with a carb product soon. The only thing that we're working on is, for example, a more sustainable packaging. So that's
a carb product,
carb, like carbs during.
Oh, carb. Sorry.
Yeah, we're coming out with a car next week.
I was like, damn, is there going to be the mockery car?
There's going to be a car. No, for example, with the carbs are nothing, carbs are carbs. It's all the same. The only thing that's different is like maybe taste or structure or whatever, but or the ratios, but it's all the same. And I think a lot of the carbs are overpriced. So we're coming out with a carb product later this year, and that one is going to be very, very accessible from a price point of view. The only downside is, and that's why a lot of sports nutrition products are really expensive. First of all, marketing. Either they're using really, really big marketing budgets, or if you want to resell in like a retailer, for example, a local bike shop, they want to make a margin of up and around 50%, 30 to 50% on a nutrition product. I mean, you get it, because if they sell like a gel for €2.50 or €3.50, they want to make like €1.50 or €2, you know, otherwise. But then the producer also wants to make something. So yeah, that's where you got to make choices. But it's fun. It's fun.
So have you told the listeners what exactly Guarana is? Because I know you explained it to me a bit in Amsterdam, and it sounds obviously really exciting as an alternative to caffeine and stuff. But I'm still, to be honest with you, not 100% sure. Like, it's a shot, a Guarana shot.
Guarana, yeah. So the first product, so Guarana Fuel is a nutrition brand. But the first product that we came out with is something that I've been using through a Belgian pharmaceutical company that reached out to me back in 2019. And they made this for a couple of World Tour Pro Tour teams under Belgium law. But they made 3 different shots, like a caffeine shot, but then they won't derive the caffeine from like a synthetical source, which could be like a synthetical source, or from a coffee extract source. But they're doing it from a Brazilian plant, mostly from a Brazilian plant. And that is because caffeine from coffee beans or a synthetical source gives like a real spike in how it how it gets into your body. So if you take a lot, you get that anxious feeling, you know, you get that feeling of anxiety, sure. You're getting the jitters, etc. And you don't have that with Guarana. So the paradox is, you want to take caffeine in high amounts, because in low amounts it doesn't really work for your body in performance perspective. So you want to take up and around 4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, 3 to 4 milligrams. And if you take like 80 milligrams of caffeine, it's actually not enough. You actually want to take 200, maybe if you're a big lad, like 300. But then the options out there were either like very low in caffeine, or very low in caffeine, artificial sugars, like a lot of additives. And especially if you race long or if you train long, that is like very, it messes with your tummy, you know. So this was like a natural product, and then it contains citrulline, beta-alanine, magnesium, vitamins. So this is a shot which you take for high intensity training, racing, Ironman racing, 70.3s, high rocks. But surprisingly, a lot of interest is currently coming from women in Amsterdam. And that's something that I didn't really foresee beforehand.
In the red light district.
Yeah. So they can work all night, baby.
I've just got my gun and fuel before I turn my light on, baby.
No, it's because a lot of they've got a really active lifestyle in Amsterdam, and they want a natural product, and they don't want any calories and sugar. So the product is all natural. It's got 0 calories and 0 grams of sugar. And they go to all these kinds of like booty classes, row cycle, or what is it called? Yes, it's very hip. Pilates, reformer Pilates, spinning, high intensity boxing, whatever, or hockey. And this is like 0 calories, 0 sugar, all natural. So that is for example something that I didn't foresee when we were launching this.
Wow, that's great. Maybe I need to be your brand ambassador then and go around these spin classes and just give out some free samples.
Yeah, exactly. What is what are the coming weeks for you going to look like now then with the T100? So you've literally got this week, next week, and then taper week.
Yeah, so I was on a bit of an easier week last week. My training week this week is going to look a bit harder. So today I just had I had a swim, a gym, and a run. Easy run with some strides. Then I had a gym with some deadlifts and some like pull-ups and stuff. And then just a swim with a bit of speed work. Pull up. Just
how often do you go to the gym? Twice a week?
Twice a week, man. Got to keep the guns sharp. Nice. I don't want to look too much like a triathlete.
Quick, let's quickly talk. How many hours do you train approximately a week? So 2 hours in the gym. How many hours on the bike? 15?
Oh, not that much. I'm doing like 12 to 13 at the moment. Just
15.
Yeah, basically. And then I'm running like 90 to 100 at the moment.
Shoot. And how much are you swimming?
Like 23 to 25
kilometers.
Yeah.
So for you, that's like 4 hours.
Man, that's the good thing about being alone is when I see like 650s on my program, bam, that becomes a 300. When I see 8100, boom, that becomes an 800. I'm about the efficiency, man. I need to be efficient.
But didn't you, when you would you say that your swimming changed? So first you were doing short course, now long course. Would you say you would do less swimming or?
Well, I'm still doing short course. I just got the opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't retired, man. I'm still going. But no, I think like obviously when you do long course, like the swimming is a lot slower in terms of like the intensity. There's less fast guys at the front. But for me, I just find like it's an easy way to build fitness. Because you don't have the impact from the running, you don't have the faff of the cycling. You just get in the pool and you can do 5K, whatever, an hour and a half. And you can kind of build your engine in the pool. Yeah. And I feel like once, if you get out of the water, not as fatigued as other people. And then that means you can then be a bit more in control on the bike and know what you're doing and manage yourself. Whereas if you get on the bike completely like redlined, then perhaps it's harder to make decisions. It's harder to, to push the power you want to push. And in our racing, at short course, that first 4 minutes on the bike is extremely important, whether you're at the front or you're tracing or you're in the group trying to make the group. Yeah. So if you can be really present in that first 4 minutes from a swim fitness point of view, I think that's really important. But then even in long course, like if for instance in Singapore, like a few of us like Leo and me and Vince and whoever else is able to go up the road and then make it harder for people that need to chase, especially in that heat, then logically they're going to spike their core temperature, having to go hard on the bike. And so I think swimming's a bit like that usual, like it's a bit underrated, and like I said, like you don't have the risk of injury.
Definitely not underrated because I can see the Ironman races over the last couple of years and you hardly ever see someone who's coming from the back winning a race anymore. It's almost always, so the swim is so important.
Yeah. For sure.
What do you think your chances are for the T100?
I don't know. I think in the heat, anything's possible, in Singapore. Like, even if someone goes off really fast in the run, or you might see them again 10K later because they haven't managed the heat properly. So I think for me, what I'm focusing on is just managing the heat. But I'd love to be out there and be competitive, like I'm not going there to just make up the numbers, like I'm pretty confident with the training I've done, and I've managed to do a lot of work on the TT bike, which I think is going to be a massive advantage, like just being in the position and being in the heat and working my ass off basically. So I kind of just want to get to a position on the start line where like I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, I've done pretty much everything I could for this race, like in the time I had, and then the result will be what the result is. I guess that's the best mentality to have, like if they're sitting there thinking about a result, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, this guy's here, like that's not really
when you're, for example, grafting in Singapore and maybe you got dropped from the front pack on the bike and you're losing a little bit of time, then if then always during a race your morale will drop a little bit because you're thinking, oh, I'm going backwards. But then you need to think about the David Goggins style Shamal in Abu Dhabi, that you were out there alone and now there's no Shamal and you were with others, so always.
I've spent too much time in the sand to get dropped, mate. There's no way.
I'd
rather die than get dropped than that pack.
take the memories from training with you and never give up. That's something during an Ironman. I always think about some epic race session or training sessions that I've done, and something that got me real emotional.
For sure. I think that's where you get the confidence, man. When you bang out a session that you see on Training Peaks and you're like, whoa, I don't know if I'll get to the end of this one. And then you make it. That's the good stuff, man. That's the good feeling, like when you're on the floor, you're completely smashed and you think to yourself, well, I've just done a session that I didn't think I was going to finish.
Or you did it even better than you thought, like you weren't able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's when you really know that you're in the grind.
That's when you know you're a dog, when you're in the trenches.
I've got another, as you all probably know, that my training schedule is going to look a little bit different this year. But first of all, this weekend I'm doing a 10K for like a running brand in Paris.
Oh yeah,
it's not going to be a 10K max because I need to promote some sort of endurance shoe. So I don't have the carbon.
I thought you were in BU. You made a surprise appearance at BU 10K, or the like. How did you just manage to appear there? I was like, what the hell is he doing?
Oh, did you mean that race?
Yeah, I was like, well, how did he end up there? And then now you're telling me you're a big dog, man. You're a flashy man.
So we're doing the 10K run race in Paris. And then from there, I'm going down to Girona for a week's training with my mate Pepe from Amsterdam, the one I've always been doing the videos with, for example, in Kona and in St. George. And we're going to make some content in Girona. So, by the way, Maxi, if you've got some people that I need to hit up for a podcast there, do you remember the one what I did with Kienle, like that kind of style, but a bit more with like quality camera? I think, that's what we're doing, and some proper graft around. Probably maybe even Banyoles. I still need to look at accommodation, but I think the weather is not looking too great next week. But I might be staying in Banyoles. I've heard from
a few mates that the weather's a bit trash at the moment. I think it's been raining a lot. You're going to have Amsterdam weather, mate.
Amsterdam's been great over the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Like cold, very cold, but sunny.
Nice.
And I'm heading down to Banyoles to spank out maybe 100K run week, or let's start off at 75. Let's not talk too big of a numbers yet. And then I've got another 2 weeks for the Ibiza marathon. But I will use that as a training session, maybe not do the whole marathon. And then I've got my big race, the 27th of April, where I'm racing Alex Yee and Eliud Kipchoge for the full marathon distance in London.
Nice. The mozzarella versus the Yee dog versus the Kip dog.
I've been seeing some of the training. Alex Yee has been sharing some of the training that he's doing for the London Marathon. Don't you think it's nuts? Like, he's running something like 160K a week. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a total stud. I mean, he's like such a natural runner. I'd love to see him just pull some crazy shit, like go 206 or something, and just I've heard he's still in the pool a couple times a week and still riding his bike. So he's running 160 to 170, but he's also still cross training. So I'm really excited to see what he does. He's been, I've been stalking his Strava, like just trying to figure out the sessions. Like, I think he's got a few of them hidden. Like, you try to do the algorithms and the Strava sauce online to try to figure out what he's doing. But no, I mean, he looks fit, man. Fuck, like every run he's doing is sub 4 minute Ks for like 35K. And you just think to yourself, what a beast. So it'll be good to see him. It'll be good to see it's exciting. You never know. Like it's exciting to see someone put themselves out there and try and
he
try
will
to do
probably
a big thing.
Break the record for the fastest triathlete on the marathon distance.
For sure. But I've heard as well that Hugo Milner, the other top runner guy from Britain, is going to be pacing him.
Really?
So there's a collab, a hashtag triathlon collab going on.
There's
so
a
maybe
collab. Wow.
Maybe you can hop onto that group, bro.
Yeah, I was thinking of starting off, because if you start off quick, you got time in the bank, and you got a little bit of air time. So I was thinking it's going to be like a 1 or 2K head to head. Me, Alex, Kipchoge, Kanisha Bekele. And the fun thing is Kanisha Bekele is racing as well, right?
Dude, I think this start list is one of the most packed start lists in the history of marathon running.
And they still need to announce me. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, so I did athletics up until I was 13. I was fanboying with Kanisha Bekele because in the Netherlands we've got the FBK games, which is like a big athletic games in the town where I grew up. And
didn't he break the 5K world record in Almere?
No, in Hengelo.
Hengelo, yeah, he did it solo. No,
I know, and that was the year.
Crazy.
I think it was in 2000. I don't know. I was 13, and I was there because I was in athletics.
You were there.
And I came in second at the kids 1,000 meter run in the FBK games, and then he broke the world record, and I got his autograph afterwards. And now we're meeting up again at the London Marathon. So it's a sign.
You can say, "Hey, remember that kid you gave an autograph to, man?"
Yeah,
look at me now.
No, but it's crazy to think, and that's why athletes like they are such legends, because they've been in the sport for how many years? Like 17, 20 years.
Yeah, for sure.
To be able to perform at such a level for 17 years, that's nuts.
Yeah, there's definitely guys and girls out there that they're like walking monuments,
Mm-hmm.
Like even when you race Johnny Brownlee, you think to yourself, bro, like, what the hell? You grew up watching this guy shredding the Olympics and whatever, and he's just kind of standing there on the start line, and you're like, there's a certain like group of people, like you said, like Bekele, Kipchoge, Brownlee, Gomez. They're just Frodeno that are just a kind of like, different, built different.
Yeah, it's quite. Just from mindset wise, that you don't get tired from doing the same thing over and over and over again for years and years and years. Yeah, that is insane, like insane.
Yeah, fair play. So should we move on to the bullshit buster, or the things we've seen online that we think, what the hell is that?
Let's quickly head over to the bullshit buster. You've got the bullshit buster, right?
I've got the bullshit buster. Okay.
Right. I was waiting for you, mate.
My bullshit buster is, surely this week it's got to be Cam Worf's racing calendar, man. There is no way he's doing that. I'm still not sure if it's a joke or not.
What is his racing calendar? So explain for everyone's listening.
Let me pull that. You got it? Have you got it?
I'm trying to get it up. Yeah.
I'll get it up. I think it's on.
I've got it up.
Yeah, you got it.
So basically, Cameron Worf just announced that he will be racing every Ironman Pro Series race this year. And to give you an example, how many races that is, or give you an example, I'm going to read it out to you. Ironman 70.3 Geelong this weekend, then the 23rd of March, then Ironman South Africa, the 30th of March, then Ironman Oceanside 70.3, the 4th of May. Flipping hell, now I'm getting a stupid ad from Ironman. Ironman Texas, the 26th of April, Ironman 70.3 Venice, the 4th of May. Then he's got Ironman 70. St. George, Ironman 70.3 Aix-en-Provence, then Ironman Hamburg, Ironman 70.3 Eagleman, Ironman Cairns, Ironman Frankfurt, 70.3 Swansea, Lake Placid, 70.3 Salem Sea, Ironman World Championships Nice, and then the 70.3 World Championships in Marbella. Well, that is absolutely crazy if you want to do all that, and then didn't even take into the account the travel.
That's insane. How do you even train for that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, how can you even keep up with the training? But on the other hand, I think because he's coming from World Tour cycling, or he is like a World Tour cyclist as well, and he's not doing that this year. A World Tour cyclist like literally races every weekend, even though with Ironman, the running is just a bit more of an impact on the body. I think he just takes it like that. He uses a lot of it as training races. But then the in between,
maybe he looks at it from a different lens than we do. But for me, it's more just like you said, like the travel. Like how logistically do you even make that happen?
Financially,
even like imagine you show up to your girlfriend, you go, "Hey, honey, this year I've got a plan," and you present her that, man. Like, how is that? That's
we'll
crazy.
meet again at Christmas.
I'll see you at Christmas.
I've got a busy schedule. I mean, we were taking
Get
the
the
piss.
turkey ready.
Yeah, but it is. He's taking his family with him, but that is at least you get to see something from the world. But I hope he. Do you always click those emissions on when you book a flight travel?
Try not to, mate. It would depress me.
But I don't think he really thinks about his emissions.
But I was thinking as well, like, to be honest, looking at his Kona result last year, he was actually one of the, I think, performances of the day. What was he, like 7th or 6th or something? He ran through pretty much the whole field.
Yeah, but he's been consistently good at the World Championships. Like, holy moly, always.
You got to give it to him. The guy races a lot, but like, how many times has he gone top 10 at Kona? Like 4, 5, 6 times, you know?
Yeah, and even top 5, like 3 times.
Fair play.
Yeah,
honestly.
And but the interesting thing is, so last year, what made a big jump in performance for him was his run. You know, that's why he was able to like win a race, and for example in Kona to run up from behind, because he was running. I don't even remember. Did he run something like 2:40 or something?
Yeah. He ran quick.
So interesting to see where, if he races this much, if it's going to affect his run/performance, or that he's like getting such a stimulus from it, which would be very atypical. Otherwise, everyone would be racing a lot. But yeah, interesting to see.
Totally. Do you have any wild predictions for this year, or like things that you think are going to happen, or anything that you want to kind of put out there?
Well, I saw 2 very, very exciting and happy Norwegians doing like a collab post with Ironman announcing their race schedule. So I'm very, they're probably, and especially it's good to see Gustav like that because he just had a very hard, at least a year, a year and a half. So I do think that he's back at a proper level and that he gained confidence. So yeah, I'm very excited to see them racing. And I think, would you... because they're doing every race together. So let's say we were training buddies. We're always training together. Would you then want to go to every race with me together? Or would you think if I want to be the best in the world, I also need to beat him? Or would you think like, I don't want to go to that race because there's big chance that he might beat me or I would beat him, but...
Yeah, I think initially, like, it's always nice to have a mate at a race, but like, overall you're trying to win the series, or you're trying to podium at the series, and you can see Magnus is making different decisions, like going to South Africa. He's obviously spreading his chips a bit more, like tactically. But yeah, for sure, if you're training with your training partner who just happens to be like, they're both Ironman world champions, and let's say they're both in great shape, then from the offset, well, my training partner's like going to be the hardest guy to beat here, and I've got to beat him this weekend and next weekend and next weekend. Yeah, things might get awkward in the hotel room after the race,
yeah.
I'll beat you again. See you next week.
But that's in the end, you always, because that's such a sad thing to see. I also see it now with, for example, you can see that Sam Laidlow is struggling, and I hope to get a chat with him next week, because I really want to hear the story and the psychological effects of something that might happen in your private life, whether it's like it could be anything, Gustav Eden had, for example, his mom passing away, which obviously had a massive effect on his on his life. So in the end, you want to see, if you have a world champion, you want them to be in their prime if you're racing them, and so I'm very curious to see how it's going with Gustav and Christian. But for the rest, I don't know. It's a stacked year, isn't it? Race.
To be honest, I do really want to see Gustav back to his best, man. Because like when he was flying a few years ago, man, he was really flying. He was doing some crazy shit, and like
his run was magnificent.
Just so smooth, man. So smooth. Like just coming off the ground, really efficient, not moving. Like you love to see it, And I really hope he gets back to where he was. The
only time when I hit that race pace of him, and also from Elliot and LXG for the London Marathon, their targeted pace, was yesterday when I had to get home from the subway. The last stretch, when I saw I can make it. I'm
home, boys. I'm home.
Daddy's home.
Home.
Yeah, definitely. Also interesting to see. Because there's a lot of short course guys like you stepping up to T100 and 70.3 distances to see how they're getting on, and if it's going to change the game. But anyway, enough for now. Maxi, I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. And good luck with the training this week. See ya.
Thanks, guys. See ya.